Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I am back again to look at the upcoming year of gear. This time we're going to be looking through the 2020 full line catalogue from Ibanez Guitars, and I'm coming to you on the 1st of January. I'm pre-recording this, and that's because my friends over at Ibanez were kind enough to send me this catalogue because they thought it would be something that I would be interested in talking about, and of course it absolutely is. Worth pointing out though that while I have friends over at Ibanez, this video is in no way paid, so I will give you my honest thoughts on everything that I see in this catalogue. I've had a quick glance through it. There are some things that I think are fantastic, and there are some things that don't excite me nearly as much. And I will tell you what they are. So that's very cool, but still a huge thank you to my friends over at Ibanez. Some exciting guitars. Yeah, let's give you a basic rundown of how this is going to roll. I'm going to open this up and react, look at things, talk about things as I'm going. Now this catalogue does contain prices. That's cool, right? But of course, prices are always subject to change. And because I'm in the UK, this is a UK-based catalogue. So you will need to do relevant conversions if you're looking for rough estimates of what these are likely to cost in your region. But as I say, prices are subject to change. In fact, when Brexit happens, I imagine these prices will probably change quite significantly. But that's the nature of economy, right? These things are always going to fluctuate a little bit. And we're not entirely sure on exactly when these guitars are going to be available, but they are the 2020 line. And I know this catalogue isn't complete. I know there are some secret announcements happening at NAMM that they didn't want to put in the catalogue. So keep your eyes peeled for those, and I will of course be talking about those when they happen. Right, so let's bring this up and get looking. So here we have it, the 2020 full line catalogue with the classic Ibanez black grey cover. Now what I've decided to do with this is I'm going to zoom in on it, and then when I look at each page, I'll be able to move around like this, which makes sense, right? And this is great because it allows me to see the specs, which is always something that's often lacking in these videos, not being able to see the specs, not being able to talk very specifically about a guitar without going through lots of pages. Though unfortunately we don't have quite as much, ability to zoom in and really look at images of these guitars. But of course they will be on the website probably right around the time that this video goes live. So the catalogue begins with the thing that probably excites me most. I don't know why, I've always been that way. Signature models. Now Ibanez, of course, long history of incredible signature artists, and we have the signature electric guitars. There are signature bass guitars, and there are signature jazz guitars later on, some signature acoustics as well. But we're just going to begin with these signature electric guitars. And of course, who better to start with than Andy Timmons? So the cool thing about this is Andy now has 3 models available. And you can see some disparity or some difference in prices. You have the cheaper one, if you like, the AT10P. This is the premium series. I love the word premium, by the way, because premium is one of those, premium means of quality, right? Whereas when you really look at it, the premium series is actually the cheaper, not necessarily made in Japan. This is the more budget-friendly version. I think premium is a much cooler way of describing a line than saying, economy or budget or whatever. So this is the premium series, and it's coming in at about £1,200. Now, when you compare that to the expensive, the made in Japan AT100CL, there is over £1,000 of difference, and that's probably, I don't know, about $1,300 of difference in price there. And when we look at the specs between these two, you know what? I'm super impressed with what the premium guitars are offering here. We've got the the jumbo frets and the maple fretboard, the black dot inlays, same as what we're getting over here. The only thing that you tend to see on the Prestige or the Made in Japans is these Prestige fret edge treatments. They don't go into a whole lot of detail on that, but of course it's going to be a nice touch, right? The expensive version coming with a bone nut, the cheaper version coming with a Graphtec nut. I mean, no one really minds that, do they? The pickups, both the Damasio Cruisers, so everything, these are very similar, but of course not quite the same level of quality. And actually, when you look at those bridges, you can see the difference. The Wilkinson down here and the Wilkinson Goto VSVG Tremolo bridge on the top one, and the top one coming with a hard shell case, gig bag on the cheaper version. Now, Andy, of course, has played this guitar, this style of guitar, for a very, very long time, and I'm not going to say I'm bored of it, but I'm bored of it. So to see, the ATZ 100, which is Andy Timmons' AZ signature model, that's super cool to me. Now, this is priced a little bit more expensive than the old, the classic Andy Timmons model, which, fair enough. There's a lot more going on with these guitars. They are super, super cool. The AZ series. In fact, spoilers, this year might be the year I buy myself an AZ. We shall see. I've been tempted many times before. There's some very cool AZs in this catalogue, so I may be grabbing myself one of those at some point. But yeah, you got the one-piece roasted maple neck, the older body, etc., etc. If you're an Andy Timmons fan, this is a super cool guitar. Then we move into the land of Paul Gilbert. Now, of course, I'm an old school Paul Gilbert fan. I talk about this usually every year. I grew up on the Racer X forums. I was Miss Treater on the Racer X forums. That's who I am. That's my identity. That was me as a kid. I was Paul Gilbert. I wanted to be Paul Gilbert. Paul Gilbert was my hero. So I know his guitar line extremely well. In fact, I did a video looking at his entire history with Ibanez, and I want a PGM. That's all I ever really want to see. But we don't get those anymore. We get the Fireman series. But to be fair, at £969, this is an extremely competitively priced guitar. And if you are a Paul Gilbert fan, you can't complain, right? That's great value for money. If you're into the shape, then you're into the shape. It's not necessarily that I don't like the shape. It's more a case of, to me, the old classic PGMs are so iconic. They're just such a huge part of my childhood that seeing the Fireman is nowhere near as exciting to me. But, very cool. Like I say, competitively priced, mini humbucker in it. Mini humbuckers, I should say. And I do like a mini humbucker. Now, over here we have the PGM M's, which are the micros. These come at a 22.2 inch scale, so you've got the shorter scale length. And these are unbelievably cheap, right? At £189. I mean, I should absolutely get one of these for the studio, should I not? You could have a lot of fun with one of these. That is scarily low priced, to be completely honest with you. I look at that thing, and that's the kind of thing that I want to hit Ibanez up and say, is that a mistake? Because if not, send me one immediately. Now here we, of course, have the more classic, the PGM look. But yeah, cool, fine. Right, and we continue down with the JBB M20. Signature guitars that really scream of the artist are very much a to taste kind of thing. Obviously, these Paul Gilbert models, they shout Paul Gilbert. And if you are an August Burns Red fan, this is going to scream August Burns Red to you, right? I can't say I'm an August Burns Red fan, so I don't look at this and go, oh man, I fucking love that guitar, and I've loved that guitar for years. But again, if you're a fan, at £900, well priced, just personally not for me. And when you look at the Jake Bowen, the Periphery signature model, that is a great example of something that to me is a little bit more subtle. This isn't as in your face. I'm not crazy about the tramp stamp. I always refer to these as tramp stamps up on that 12 fret. Looks like I'm sure there's a tramp stamp on the guitar. But yeah, that to me, super, super classy guitar. In fact, for a long time, I've really wanted one of these Jake Bowen models, but with a fixed bridge, because I'm very much a fixed bridge kind of player. But yeah, also extremely expensive. But this is the JBM 100, the made in Japan model. If we go down, we can see over here the 7-string version. Now, this is not the made in Japan version, so this is a lot more competitively priced at £1,400-ish. And then as you go down a little bit more, you've got the JBM 10FX, which, yeah, cool. This is very competitively priced, £900, and it has that fixed bridge. I have to be completely honest, these the Gibraltar bridges, the Ibanez Gibraltar bridge, I'm not a huge fan of this bridge. I'm not saying that there's anything particularly wrong with it, it's just there's a certain style of fixed bridge that I'm very used to, and this feels a little bit different under the hand. So when I look at that, I think, oh, it's a shame that I can't have the bridge that I like, but fine, cool. The other thing I have to say is I'm not entirely sure. I would assume that, based on looking at the Steve Vai models over here, that this is the only colour that this is available in. Now, I did have this criticism of Ibanez a few years ago when Gent was extremely popular. Every single guitar that year seemed to be in Gent grey. Now, I still, I guess, have the complaint that there's nowhere near as many colours as maybe I'd like to see. As I said, what I'd really like to see is this particular guitar in the grey colour with a fixed bridge, right? I'm also, what is that fretboard? Jatoba. So that's interesting because just the colouring in this photo of that Jatoba board versus the colouring in that one, and this is also a bound Jatoba board as well. This one looks a lot darker, so maybe maybe this is one that you're going to want to see in the shop before you buy. Anyway, on to Mr. Steve Vai, the one and only Mr. Steve Vai, one of Ibanez's longest-serving signature artists. Now, of course, you're going to expect to see a lot of Steve Vai signature models. He is a guitar megastar at the end of the day, right? We have the premium, again, nothing new here. And literally anything that is new will say, new. So I'm going to try and move on. I'm going to try and go through these relatively quickly. Nice to see that you can get a, very cheap gem, £449. When I was a kid, I don't think the cheapest one was anywhere near as cheap as that, and I distinctly remember the cheap one also only had a sort of half Tree of Life set of inlays. So yeah, kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, I mean, this is me growing up seeing things like this. I was never a fan of the monkey grip, of course, because Paul Gilbert more than Steve Vai, but bright colours, I like that. And a Universe, right? A 7-string Universe, super well priced, super well priced. An iconic looking guitar. This just screams value to me at £1,300 if that's the kind of thing. Steve Vai fan, but this doesn't scream Steve Vai. It does if you're a Steve Vai fan, but it's not like this one that has the monkey grip in it and the Tree of Life inlays. This one is a little bit more understated, so I think that's kind of cool. Very cool. Nita Strauss model, honestly could not care less. I'll try. I'll let you know if I get there. £1,200. I like that. Well, I guess I don't like that. These Satriani models, the things that are made in Japan say made in Japan. I feel that it would be a nice touch maybe to include where all of these are made, but maybe that's just me not fully understanding the current setup of Ibanez and their manufacturing process. But yeah, the Jiva, Jiva, is there. Quite expensive, definitely quite expensive. But anyway, let's get on to the Joe Satriani stuff. Joe was my hero growing up, so I've never actually owned. I don't even think I played a Satriani. Oh no, I think, did Irene Ketakidi have a Satriani model? I may have played one. This, oh boy. So this is the chrome, right? I mean, that's extremely expensive, almost £5,000. The Sustainiac pickup in it, very cool, but yeah, you've been able to buy these for years. I guess when it comes to Joe, the things that we really want to talk about are the new models. So the fact that there's a premium Sustainiac pickup in the neck, wonderful. Competitively priced. Again, if you're a Joe Satriani fan, having access to, especially this one, being able to access a Joe Satriani model in the sub £1,000 zone, that's cool. Good on you. Good on you, Ibanez. Then on to Kiko. Now, I love Kiko Loureiro's playing. I love his solo work. I think his is it called No Gravity? Yeah, I'm sure it's called No Gravity. His first solo album was absolutely fantastic. Of course, he's got all of the work with Angra, and I absolutely loved his work on Megadeth's Dystopia. I think he's a phenomenal, cutting-edge, rock and shred guitar player, and also respect where respect is due. And I think maybe this is why this guitar is so damn expensive compared to other signature models. He has done something different with the body on this, I'm sure. Now I say that, it kind of looks like the JB series. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, definitely very expensive for what it is. And there's a tramp stamp on this one, but at the first fret, very odd. Very odd. This actually, when I look at this, it kind of reminds me of like a halo or a court. So I'm not crazy on the look on this one, I've had to be completely honest with you, and especially for that price. So that's a shame, but nice try. Another Kiko model. Yeah, cool, fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about that. Cool, competitive. I keep saying competitively priced, right? When I look at this Kiko one and the Luke Hoskin, the Protesta Hero one, my only criticism of this is, it's the Gibraltar Standard 2 bridge. Just, again, personally not a fan. But fair enough. I don't mind the finish on that. That was kind of cool. We're getting into the ones that are really interesting now. So the Scott LePage one, last year when this came out, this was one that I definitely said is one of the hottest looking guitars that they released that year. So well priced for what it is. I actually assumed that these were going to be a lot more than this. And I'm talking about the Polyphia signature models here and the Chon signature models here mainly. When these came out, I absolutely knew that it was going to be Tim Henson's model that was going to be the big seller. This was going to be the one that was popular. And it was. If you look on YouTube, you will see tons and tons of people playing this guitar and talking about the guitar, reviewing the guitar, first experiences with the guitar. There's definitely some people that got the Scott LePage signature model. And I'm not saying that these didn't sell, but the people that bought these certainly weren't the people that then went on YouTube and said, hey, check this guitar out, let me show you it. And the reason I can point that out is because the Eric Hansel model, the EH10, I think this guitar is absolutely stunning. And this is definitely very high on my list of contenders for Ibanez guitars that I might pick up this year. I think just look at it. It's, like an AZ with like that kind of transparent matte green finish on it. It's got a tremolo, and that's really why I'm considering picking up an AZ this year, because I don't own a single guitar with a tremolo. But a Telecaster picker up in the neck, very cool, roasted maple neck. Yeah, it's still got the stainless steel frets, etc. So to me, this is very cool, very, very, very cool. Ibanez, take note. I want one of these. Marcos Foley. Now, Marco, someone that I've worked with over the years, and Martin Miller are one of my best friends in the world. These are a lot more expensive than the ones that we just looked at, and of course this is because they are made in Japan. I certainly remember when Martin was talking about the design of this guitar with me, that it was the only AZ model that was mahogany. Yeah, so it's flame maple top, but an African mahogany body. And I'm still pretty sure he's the only guy that has a mahogany AZ signature model. So very, very cool guitar. I'd like one of these as well, but this is these are very expensive. So when it came to this one, it was much a case of, hey, Ibanez, hit me up. When it comes to this one, it's, hey, Martin, hit me up, buddy. I'll talk to you about that. And of course, Tom Quayle. Again, me and Tom go way back, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, oh wow, look at this. Who would have thought? If you're a fan of Tom Quayle, you're going to be a fan of this guitar. And again, interesting to see prices on these. Paul Stanley of Kiss, some very expensive models. Yeah, very expensive models. Worth pointing out, nothing new. Nothing showing up as new this year. So I always thought the broken mirror guitars were very cool, but I do not think that price is cool. But I guess that's what happens, right, when you're as big as Paul Stanley. Paul Wagner, Between the Buried and Me. I really like Between the Buried and Me. Not too crazy on the finish on this guitar. Look at that price! Look at that price! Woo! So the Meshuggah 8-string signature. This is the M8M, the made in Japan one. These are super, super cool guitars. I played one of these once. It was actually the cheaper one that I played. 29.4-inch scale, just super, super extended scale to really keep those low notes just tight as all hell. And that is an insane price. I'm sure they sell. I wouldn't keep offering them, but I can't think of any reason that I could possibly justify that when this one exists. And again, I'm going to say it, competitively priced. And then as I scroll down, of course, you've got the Frederick Voldendahl, also Meshuggah, signature 8-string, but this one is like that kind of Firebird style. Firebird inspired, shall we say. Very cool, very cool. When I say that, I mean it looks a little off balance to me. It's always looked a little bit off balance, but if you're a Meshuggah fan, I'm a huge Meshuggah fan, you're going to enjoy this guitar. Right, so on to the RG models. Now I'm going to go relatively quickly through these because I talked for, quite, how long have I been talking for? A long time. When I look at the RG series, these are classic, iconic stuff. I don't like seeing the Tree of Life inlays on these because they just scream Steve Vai to me. But some new finish, the brownish Sapphireette and the, I said Sapphirette there, and it's not. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. Blue Royal Sapphire. Yeah, cool. Now here we have a new model. This, very cool. I'm going to say the same thing. Not crazy on the Gibraltar Bridge. But yeah. Again, very odd to me, though, that only one colour. Only one colour. This is a cool colour. Don't get me wrong. I do like that colour. I would probably... Yeah, I'd happily buy a guitar that colour, actually. But I know many people maybe wouldn't. So strange to see it only available in the one colour. Right, the green ones now. Yeah, green ones were available last year. I thought they were quite cool colours last year, but here we go. Some new models. Now this looks like a kitchen worktop to me, not in a negative way. That's a very, very cool finish. Available in both a right and left-handed model. That's the RG5 320. Yeah. I do feel that it's a shame that left-handed models are more expensive. Personally, I do feel that's a shame. I think that, in this, it's going to sound a little bit political, right? In this equal society that we're aiming to live in, why are you punishing people for being left-handed? I do appreciate that it requires, tooling of the guitars, a different body shape, etc. But it is a shame to essentially punish a left-handed player just for such an insignificant amount in the grand scheme of things, an extra £80 or whatever. Yeah, new model. Okay, cool. What are they? The Fishman Fluence, right? Cool. Yeah, I've played a couple of the Fishman Fluence pickups. They're cool. Cool. Yeah. So nothing really jumping out there, of course, because again these were all available last year. You got a Prestige 8-string. Yeah, those natural finishes really aren't for me, but cool, good for you. So again, 7-string Prestige, RG Prestige. The RG 550, the most iconic of all of the RGs. I love the RG 550. I used to own a Road Flare Red and a Desert Yellow at the same time. That was right at the end of my Paul Gilbert identity crisis I was having. It was the anniversary ones that I had. They were really cool guitars though. Yeah, and then we've got the Made in Japan ones. So these ones up here, I can't actually see it because of that. These, let's have a look. Yeah, these are made in Japan. So £900 for a Made in Japan guitar. Kind of cool. Continuing on. New models. So I kind of want to say mayonnaise looking finish on that. The burl is, that Buckeye, is it Buckeye burl that they have there? Poplar burl. Yeah, very popular finish. Very popular, excuse the pun. Cool, yeah, all new models, and it seems they're going for a lot of those finishes. So what do we have? We have a fixed bridge. Now, what bridge is this on this? A monorail bridge. So I would prefer to see something like that on the guitars rather than the Gibraltars. But yeah, again, that's just me, right? This is kind of interesting, mainly because of the pickups. So they, bare knuckle, the aftermuffs, and they're kind of those oil stained ones, which are kind of cool. That's definitely they've called it tropical seafloor, which I can see now. Actually, to be fair, and initially I thought it would be called galactic explosion or something like that. But that's kind of cool. I don't mind that. And another, the Axiom label series. These are all great prices, I'm a huge fan of baritone guitars, huge fan of baritone guitars. When you've played a baritone guitar and then compared it to playing a 7-string guitar, they are totally different. Of course, one has an extra string, but if you look at the scale on the baritone, it's a 28-inch scale versus the 27-inch scale that you get on a lot of their 7-string models. That makes a huge difference to that low B string. And for recording, if I needed to record a riff that was in B and I didn't need the high string on a 7-string guitar, I would probably lean towards playing it on a baritone because I love the way they sound. So yeah, Ibanez and baritones, they're not particularly new, but evidently or apparently this is a new model. Have to say, this, again, shame about the Gibraltar Bridge. I really sound like I hate it, don't I? I've only had limited experience with it, but it just immediately wasn't something I loved. But I like this, and especially like it for that price. So very good indeed. The 9-string. The 99999. I switched to German at some point there. Nothing new there. Yeah. more RGs, more RGs. You get it, some new RGs, and you can go through the specs of these. Like, again, it's such a shame to me because I look at these and these are three different. They are different guitars, right? They are absolutely different guitars. They are priced very differently. Why one finish? Just why one finish? It's just such a shame. There's only one finish for each of these. If you buy this one, it's surely like, if you prefer the look of this one, but you buy this one, well, you've done it because you didn't have enough money to buy this one, right? But if you have the money to buy this one and you like the specs of this one, but you like this finish, then what? Do you just buy the cheaper, lesser guitar? I don't get it. Of course, I'm not saying that all guitars should be available in all specs, but more than one finish, come on. Oh, hello, a turquoise sparkle. Turquoise sparkle? I like sparkle finishes, so that's a new model. Yeah, great. Multi-scales. So, I've talked about multi-scales a lot online. My most popular video is still the one where I'm talking about fan frets and what do they do. If you're into multi-scales, you need to really spend a lot of time thinking about who makes the right multi-scale for you. I often talk about they're not for ergonomics. They are not for ergonomics. If they were for ergonomics, then every single company that manufactured guitars with multi-scale frets, fan frets, would have the straight fret in the same place. A lot of manufacturers put the straight fret around 7. Ibanez put that straight fret around 12, and that results in a more subtle fan from around 15 down to 7. But when you get down to those first few frets, the fan down there is very extreme, very extreme. And I'm gonna this as an aside, when people talk about but when you open your hand up and you go to fret the guitar, that's the way your hand naturally extends to. These fingers angle out. You are absolutely right, that is the case, but actually if you look at what your hand does when you close, your strength is with the fingers completely straight like this. When you open your hands and try and close, you have nowhere near as much strength pushing in like that as you do squeezing in like that, because what you're essentially doing is you're closing your hand. If you do that with your fingers open, there's just no strength. So again, don't kid yourself. These aren't that way for comfort. Not to say that they're not comfortable. Let me be clear about that. These are that way for tension. So, but I don't know why I'm talking about this, because these aren't new guitars. Right, cool. So the RGA series, of course, yes, the RGA. The Kiko is essentially an RGA. Anything new color, new finish. It looks very much like the Bowen signature, the periphery one. I love that Ibanez are doing seafoam green. I love that Ibanez are doing seafoam green. Cannot express that enough. Spoilers, there's an AZ in seafoam green, and that is one that, again, I'm considering. Now I'm seeing that. This is cool, but the AZ is absolutely beautiful. So, let's try and get to those. So an RGD, if you like those, the kind of, what do you want to call it, the carving, the Kiesel bevel, all right, Ibanez, if you're going to do that, then by all means do that. Quite expensive, but not the worst. I say that, it also kind of reminds me of like the Petrucci, the Ernie Ball, who of course has history of Ibanez, originally having his signature model with them for a very long time. So a couple of new finishes on the Prestige AZ series, and that's a pearl white and a black. So I think the Trifade Burst is super, super cool. The criticism of these when they came out is they look a bit too much like a Sur, and I still do kind of see that. I still do see that when I look at them. Having said that, the ones that I've played, they've all been Sur standard. They've all been Sur level of quality. So I don't necessarily take issue with that. The AZ2204, now available in a hazy rose metallic. That's kind of cool, I guess. There's a new model here. I guess. Why not? If you're HSS configuration, looks very Strat-like, right? Very, very Strat-like. When the original AZs came out, these were obviously Strat inspired, but that one looks very Strat-like, very, very Strat-like. Then we go down, so we've got another new model, the AZ2202A. Now this one's a little bit more expensive than the AZ2402. Now why would that be? Let's take a look. What's the difference in specs? They've both got the roasted maple neck. This is a 22 fret model. They both have the 2 humbucker configuration, but 22 frets. Yeah, I don't really mind. I'm fine with 20. I play Telecasters, so I'm used to the 21 frets. You've got the jumbo stainless steel frets with the prestige fret treatment. Both Seymour Duncan Hyperion pickups. Sorry, Goto tremolo, chrome hardware, lumen lace side dots, hard shell case. Huh, that's very strange. This guitar, spec wise, I don't think I'm seeing anything on there that's different. It's got the same switching. I mean, it's an ash body. Okay, so it's a slightly more expensive version with an ash body and fewer frets and pickup covers on it as well. Nice touch that there's a left-handed model available. Again, unfortunately, they're charging a little bit more for it, but you know, such is life. Here we go. Here we go. The Seafoam Green. Oh, hello. Hello, hello. I really like the fretboard on this one. I'm sure that's just a picture. I mean, it is just a roasted maple neck, but this one looks kind of aged. Boy, am I considering this guitar. I think this is very cool. Very, very cool. Though saying that, I scroll down and look at the next one, and this one's also very cool. Very, very cool. What is the difference on this then? So they're priced exactly the same, but they have different model names. Yeah, I'll let you guys look at the specs on those, and you can see for yourself. Another new model here. Yeah, Strat-like, another new model. So they're pushing that AZ series. I know the AZ series has been fabulous for Ibanez. They've sold really well, and rightfully so. They're wonderful guitars. S series, yeah, nothing new in there. Okay, so we've got some new models here in the SA series. Cheap, £500. I'm sorry if I'm grazing past guitars that are only £500, but like it's not my area of interest. It's not my. I don't have really any guitars in that price range. So it's hard for me to get excited about stuff like that because I'm just not going to buy stuff like that. The FR series, yeah, cool. It's like Ibanez's weird telly, fine. New finish on the Art series. The AR, I've always loved this AR, and that's incredibly well priced actually. I had no idea they were that cheap. No idea they were that cheap. That's a great price, £529. Very cool. Let's keep going. Some left-handed stuff, and again, nothing new popping up. So we've got some new models in the GRX series. These are like budget guitars, £170. Great beginner guitars, yep, fine. What do we have here? Nothing new, so we'll just keep going. Now this is super exciting, and I know it's taken me a long time to get here, and I apologise for that. But we have George Benson signature models. Now, George Benson has a lot of signature models. The LGB 300, the GB10, the LGB30, the GB10 SE. Now, he's had those for a very long time. But this year we have a new model, the GB10EM, and this is priced at £550. If you are looking to get a George Benson guitar, that is a great price, especially when you look at, the high-end ones are priced around £3,200. That's a lot of money for one of those. Yeah, I think if I was to buy one of these, I would probably. I couldn't justify getting the GB10, but probably the LGB30 or the GB10 SE. So very cool. Pat Metheny, the classic. People often forget that Ibanez have most of the best iconic jazz guitar players in the world. Really iconic ones. Pat Metheny's, John Scofield's, George Benson's. They have that history, and they've had players with them like Joe Pass played Ibanez stuff for a very long time. So obviously, my channel is not hugely known for looking at jazz guitars or jazz-inspired guitars, hollow body guitars, but I do have a history of playing things like this, and I have to say that if you're unfamiliar with the Ibanez AG series, the AG 95s, I'm sure they did an 85 as well that was very, very cool. I really like the body sizes of those AG, so the AG 85. I love the body size of those. They're not too big. They're not too uncomfortable if you're wanting a jazz guitar that doesn't really, get in the way of playing. You want something that feels a little bit more modern. You could get yourself involved with like an AG 75G. These are much smaller bodied jazz guitars, and why not? Oh, hello, the AS73G in gold metallic flat. Now we're really getting out into the weeds now of things that Ibanez make that people are going to be interested on. I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence by talking about bass guitars, because I'm not a bass guitar player. But you are going to see some cool stuff in here. The Ibanez Bass Workshop, the headless bass, so very cool. And they are doing a Seafoam Green headless 5-string multi-scale. So it's nice to see Ibanez getting into that territory. I would expect them to probably release a headless guitar next year based on this. Awesome price, and this screams like late 80s jazz fusion stuff. So yeah, very cool to see that. I'm enjoying seeing like all these new models of bass. I'm enjoying the prices on them, right? Currently, if you're wanting to get involved seriously in the multi-scale bass thing, I think the best option on the market is like the Dingwall, the Combustion. If you can buy one of those, I picked mine up for like £650, which is extremely cheap. It's like half price. But even the retail price on those is great. Now Ibanez are getting in on that territory, so they look great. Yeah, fine. I mean, these look super cool, but again, I'm not a bass player, so I'm not gonna. Again, I won't insult your intelligence. I do that enough, I'm sure. 5-string. I mean, this video is essentially over because we're going to look at basses. In fact, if I zoom out, we're going to look at basses, and then you're going to move on to acoustic guitars at some point. Wow, Ibanez make a lot of basses. A lot of basses. They do an AGB bass, which is kind of cool. A lot of basses, fair enough. Signature model acoustics. And I just wanted to make mention of the fact that Steve Vai and Joe Satriani apparently have signature Ibanez acoustics. I remember Steve Vai having that green one many years ago. I assume he's probably never stopped having an acoustic guitar. Maybe that's a big seller for Ibanez, maybe it's not. But I guess the thing that was most interesting to me is that Steve Vai's signature acoustic guitar is not as expensive as the Joe Satriani signature guitar. So well done, Joe. Moving into your acoustics. Again, I'm not an expert here. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. So just going through those classicals, ukuleles, mandolins. There's a banjo, because why wouldn't there be a banjo? I actually play more banjo than I do acoustic guitar. You have some amplifiers and some pedals, but nothing new and exciting here other than your classic wah pedal and your echo shifter. I might get the opportunity to have a look at those when they come out. We shall see. Whoo, that was a lot of talking. And one take, right? Because that's what I do. So what do you guys think? What was your favourite guitar in here? As I say, the Eric Hansel, the EH10 is one that I really enjoyed. But I also really enjoy a lot of the AZ series. I kind of really dig the Seafoam Green AZ. And that's one that I will be very keen to try out. And I'm weighing up that Eric Hansel model versus the Seafoam Green AZ series. To me, those are some pretty cool guitars. But as I say, really interested to know what you think are very cool guitars in there. Let me know in that comment section below. And yeah, if you pick one up, please do let me know. Let me know how you get on with them. So lastly, huge thank you to supporters over on Patreon. You've helped the channel grow, you've helped the channel get where it is today, and I couldn't have done it without your love and support. You guys are essentially the reason that Ibanez care, right? They don't care about me personally. They don't love me. We're not friends. I'm friendly with people over there. The reason we can get exclusives like this is because they value you guys. They want you guys to be able to see this stuff. They think that you deserve to see this stuff. So thank you so much for building the channel to a point where that can happen. And of course, another great way to support me, check me out on Amazon. Have a look for Levi Clay. You'll find lots of my books with a new one out this month. So, right, all the usual stuff. Check me out on Patreon by clicking this button up here. Support me for as little as $1. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here, and you will see 2 more of my videos here and here. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I really should go to bed, but I'm not. I'm going to sit up and edit this video. Much love, and I will see you for more videos soon. Laters.